Well, so we know that that is two panelists, the presenter of Montie FM and owners. They will be in court this morning to get to know what their sentence is, because we know that the conviction should be done by the end of the court day. It was announced last week by the court that they will be sentenced. They will be sentenced. Mama, what do you make of it then? And following the days of people brewing, and even the people themselves, the container themselves, going home and knowing that Charlie, Monday or Wednesday, some fates will beset me.
Well, I honestly don't know. I just pray and hope that they don't, nobody goes to prison. But that's why a call is on standby right now, and so we're going to touch base and find out what the situation looks like, because we know it's too early yet for the court itself to be sitting. So a call is gauging the mood, and we'll link up with him right now.
So we are live here at the premises of the Supreme Court, where later today the judges will decide the fate of those who have now become known as the Montie 3. I'm talking about Salifu Mase, popularly known as Mugabe, the host of the show on Montie FM, together with the two panelists, Godwin Akwogan and then Alistair Nelson. They have been held here for cases of contempt for threatening to take the lives of the Supreme Court judges. The case has been going on for some time, and the last time the case was called, they had to come in together with the management of the FM station. They have pleaded guilty, but they are asking for clemency and mercy in the discharge of their duty. They're asking the judges to have pity on them, to forgive them, and that was when we had the famous Popo Biligili term coming into being. Over here at the Supreme Court this morning, security presence is really tight. Before we were allowed entry here, we had to check whether or not our names were in the list of those accredited to be here today. And if your name is not in the list, you have a paper that you need to write your name on with your details, your full name, you give your number, and then you sign as well, so that in case they want to know where you're coming from, they get all of that details. There are lots of policemen. I can count more than 200 police officers here. They are all in check, ensuring that they keep the peace here at the Supreme Court. Not too long ago, military pickup also went by with some soldiers in there. And I tell you, there are a lot of other citizens who are trooping in one by one. The others were also coming here in their numbers, just to know what the fate of these three gentlemen will be. It's a packed Supreme Court. There are people already in the premises, and the security presence here is tight, as I said earlier. So we keep our eyes on whatever happens here, and on joining to feed you with the latest as the story unfolds. My name is Derek. I call Sam.
Well, Derek has
crisp. That's what's happening at the court. There's a lot of police presence there as well.
It is interesting, though, knowing that since the last week you have been to court. There's an announcement of a sentence, and the date for you to be sentenced has been adjourned. Okay. Throughout those days, through the weekend, whilst you're eating your banku and the fufu, you don't know what fate you suffer on Wednesday.
But listen, I think as a country, we have, perhaps because the issue is not over yet, we have not even reflected on the fact that a conviction is such a big deal.
Yes, it is.
That you've been convicted. I can actually start a story and say.
They said that conviction enough is even a sentence.
Yes, that's a big deal. But we don't seem to realize that it's as if we're waiting to see somebody go to Nsawam or wherever to see. Yeah, but a lot of people are also picking from what happened the last time. This will not be the first time that journalists or people related to the media are standing.
When is the last time?
Remember this was another Supreme Court, the election petition.
Okay.
So people are taking from that and saying that the punishment must be bigger than what was experienced the last time, because it wasn't as grave, like if you want to measure, for instance, the weight of what
is it also because this very case is steeply embedded in some political conversation, so to speak?
Isn't necessarily. It still has to do with elections. I mean,
because what you're referring to is public opinion. People's speculated comments.
Yes.
Your opinion. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a legal opinion. But we know that
we're not looking at this case with a political eye, are we?
No, never. But we have a public discourse platform which seem to have a certain bearing on what we are thinking outside the courts. And so what you and I are sharing our thoughts and our views and what people also have been saying on the various discourse platforms.
Yes, definitely. But you see, I mean, you can share your thoughts, you can share your views. Everybody has got a nose. We're all entitled to that. That's why they said everybody has an opinion. But I think you should not move to the level of either insulting or threatening. You know, that would be thinking that you're too big.
We'll see how that goes. But let's just run this by you, because the very case in point, forget about the dogs, they are for security people. This is what it says. It says the Supreme Court is expected to hand down the punishment it may deem appropriate to the contemnors who appeared on Montie FM. They had already pleaded liable for their actions and inactions which were reported to lower the authority of the court, which were purported to lower the authority of the court on a radio program. The convicts were cited for making contemptuous pronouncements threatening the lives of judges who heard the cases of Abu Ramadan and Evans Nemako versus the Electoral Commission, the Attorney General, on the cleaning of the current register of voters. They were therefore asked to show courts why the Supreme Court should not commit them to jail for scandalizing the court and also defying and lowering the authority of the court, bringing the authority of the court also into disrepute. The directors of Network Broadcasting Company Limited, owners of Montie FM, are Messrs. Edwardado Kwesitua and Kweku Bram Labi, a legal practitioner, I know, as well as Harry Zako, owner of the Frequency. They will all be in court today. And already we're giving to you live pictures from the premises of the Supreme Court. We've had the police and other security agencies readily available in full regalia. They are there. If you see this very armored car and you're not afraid, I don't know what else you'll be afraid of.
I'm not.
But still, it doesn't prevent those who tend to support the contemnors from going down already.
No. We'll see if they make the kind of noise that we had them make the last week. According to
our reports, they were pushed out of the premises.
Yeah, but they still made loud noises, whether they were cheers or even though they didn't understand what was happening inside the courts.
Definitely.
And I think I heard Judge Lowe, who is one of the lawyers in this case, say, for instance, as he came out, then people said, lawyer, so neighbor, like, you know, they were jubilating, they were excited, but they didn't even know what had transpired in the court, and they were asking him to tell them what had happened. It's interesting.
Yes.
People would bust themselves there, not knowing, you know, what the situation is even about. They're just there to support.
But we shouldn't forget this case also brought into sharp focus the role and responsibility of the media in the electioneering and in general in trying to inform and educate a lot more people, or their listeners or viewers.
Sure. And I feel sad whenever this is mentioned, because, you know, the Media Foundation for West Africa does a lot of work and they've been doing a lot of monitoring, particularly in this election year. And I wonder what we do with what they bring out as a country in terms of the National Media Commission, for instance, the GJA. We've got the security agencies. Everybody's just sitting there, and these people are recording the insults, the inappropriate language that is being used on our airwaves, and they're just sitting there and watching, you know, like it comes in the report and we'll all read it and say, oh, and this person is topping the chat and this political party is topping the chat, and that's it. We'll leave it there. Nobody picks up on it to do anything with it. And it saddens me, really. We'll sit here and somebody would make another big mistake on air and this will happen again. and everybody would say, yeah, but we knew this was going to happen because nobody's taking any action. It really saddens my heart.
Okay, you are drawing attention. Richard inside Kumasi, we'll take notes. This one, Dr. Abedi Kwadaso, aka Big Joe Shoes. I agree with Nanado 100%. I asked this question: why is it that the registration of new voters, which rather has a long process, has a limited time when voters register exhibition, which only takes just a few minutes, is also going on alongside? The EC must back up, or else they will cause confusion in this country. We need change. December 7th. Hi to Mr. Ishmael of Mokap Microfinance, Iceman and Digital Rofor of Kwadaso. I love reading this message. I pray the Supreme Court tampers justice with mercy. You are in line with Mama Vioso Abuaji's view. She dreamt about it.
I didn't. I would never have such a dream.
In the contempt
I've got
charge,
big things to dream about.
I know, right? In the contempt charge brought against Montie FM's owners and 3 others, there is wisdom in forgiving wrongdoers always. To err is human and to forgive is divine. And this is by Alhaji Muhammad Salia Fiewura. Very sad for the family of this policeman. How can people be so wicked and infect these children with HIV? He should be castrated. You're talking also about the man in Malawi who, according to the report we're getting from the international media, has been arrested. Of course, precipitated by the concerns raised by the president who gave the order.
So how about those who are in the country who also still practice this? Should the BBC or any other media house begin to highlight them and bring them individually for them to talk about what they do before the president says arrest this person?
Doesn't make sense.
I don't get.
So it means that many people had been continuing the tradition for years.
Yeah.
Nobody took action until we thought that our dirty linen was being washed.
Yeah.
In the international media. And
then we sit down and then we say, oh, international media is only carrying negative stories about Africa. But this is news, even for us who live in Africa.
Even for us, in Ghana, for example, we talk about witch camps and things like that. We never do anything.
But this is news. I mean, this is horrible.
We have Ningwe from Bole. I think the Montie 3 have learned their own lessons, and it goes further to point that if your party is in power, you can't misbehave towards the court and go scot-free. It goes to also support the popular adage that if by divine intervention your eyes are big, you frighten anybody but never everybody but never attempt frightening the all. And that's good morning. I do understand you. It's just that the way you wrote it was a bit. Sentencing of accused person set for today. Why not judgment of accused person set for today?
Judgments. They've been convicted already.
Yes, that's from Bruce in Koko. It's because the court said they've been sentenced, and today is
they can say sign a bond of good behavior. It's like
we're all hoping. That's the action that tempers justice with mercy.
Action that goes with a conviction. Am I correct?
Well, don't mind Nanado. He went to Cote d'Ivoire, and because there is a factory in every district over there, not forgetting that they have about 9 districts, but in Ghana about 275 districts. So he shouldn't lie to Ghanaians. From Kwame Nkrumah Shabu Asankregwa. Mohammed Astro from Damango says, good morning. I know very well that it is going to be smooth for Mugabe and co. Okay. Did you have a dream? Good morning to Mamavi and Roland. I want Mugabe and his Montie panelists rotting in jail to save Ghana and the justices as well, and our democracy. They should rot in jail. That from Zion from Wa. It says, Mr. Roland, have you interchanged positions today? By the way, good morning. The older generation have almost failed us as a country because they are indecisive. That's the biggest plight of this country. JB from Draboso.
Yeah.
Draboso.
Roland puts me here when he wants to question me, like an interview or something like that. And I'll tell you something. I think you're just great. We'll have to take a break. When we come back, we'll have a lot more to talk about. We'll have AM talk. Do you like
entertainment?
me?
A lot. In fact, I love you. We're taking a break, and then we'll be right back.